Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's your friend and brother, Coach Ricardo Miller, and we are live once again here on our social media various platform. For those of you that are following me on YouTube, I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. Okay. Because here's the deal. When you show up, man, it helps me out. It really does. But no, go a little bit further and put on that notification bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. And then, Facebook, you guys, y'all know y'all are the people. Y'all are the people. Y'all were before YouTube, okay? And then those of you that are on Twitter, retweet this thing, man. Retweet it. But today, it's really all about this concept that we're on, trying to figure out the principles necessary for winning. Now, I teach in effective living. We have five areas that we build our foundation on: faith, family, finance, and fitness. I teach that if you don't like where you are, you can make some adjustments. Now, the unfortunate truth is you may not be able to go to the Bahamas and be on a beach like our guest this morning, but you could decide to get there one day, okay? And then for those of you that are there, you got to learn how to enjoy it. But this morning, I'm joined with none other than Miss Brook Eneas. How are you doing, Brook?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Coach.
Listen, I am so excited about this conversation. I had a talk with Pastor Raymond Eneas a couple of weeks ago, and we dived in. Him and I have to do a part two, but I said, you know what? I'm going to ask Billy to set up a series of talks, and I want Brooke to do a session, and I want Raymond to do a session, and both of you guys' schedule was able to accommodate these talks. And so for our viewing audience watching from around the world over the next few days, people are going to be seeing what we're talking about. Tell our viewing audience a little bit about Brook Eneas.
Thank you so much again for having me. I am in the beautiful islands of the Bahamas, precisely in Freeport, Bahamas, which we know was hit by Dorian not too long ago, but it's such a beautiful place and is really causing itself to kind of be replenished. So we want to invite you to come if you're looking for a place of paradise. But long story short, I have been teaching fitness. I started teaching fitness as a hobby in 2002, believe it or not. It's been about 20 years.
Wow.
And from that space, I started taking it a little bit more seriously when I decided to compete for Miss Florida USA. And through many life's changes and developments, it has led me to the most beautiful time in my life as I coach really high profile clientele and helping them to get into the best shape of their lives. So I am a coach, an author, a speaker, a traveler, a fitness enthusiast, but also a mom and a wife who loves living on purpose. So I'm excited to be here today.
Man, that is so awesome. And, I've been following your platform for a while.
Thank you.
You guys are amazing. And y'all show up strong and y'all always deliver. And that's one of the things I love about you and your husband. I love your family. And
Thank you.
I'm just grateful for this talk this morning. Let's dive into this. Today, I mentioned early on, effective living is built around 5 foundational beliefs, which is faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Today, I want to dive in a little bit more on the fitness dynamic.
Sure.
I think that there are people making common mistakes. I mean, just constantly making so many mistakes, and they don't realize if you have health, you ought to take care of it because you could lose it. Let's talk about this. Why do you think most people take little regard for the health that they do have at the current moment, not realizing you may not always have it?
You may not always have it. We take it for granted. It's such a truth. Unfortunately, it's like anything in life. Whenever you have, until it's gone, then you begin to realize the value of what you had. It's as simple as this. Think about this, Coach. Whenever someone has a simple cold, we begin to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I feel so awful. And that's with a cold. So when there's more serious diseases or illnesses, we really begin to say, I took this for granted the entire time. And so we really have to take a moment to express gratitude. I think gratitude helps us to understand and put things in perspective of how much of a benefit health really is to our bodies. It's just out of sight, out of mind. We just take it for granted.
When I was telling someone the other day that health is wealth.
Absolutely.
Health is wealth, and either pay now or pay later. Either way,
That's
you're gonna
true.
pay. What's your view on that?
I tell people all the time, you say pay now, pay later. I'm saying pay the extra for the value and the quality versus spending it in a medical bill later on. It just makes practical sense. But oftentimes, again, we're living in the moment, or we don't have a clear vision of where we're headed. And our lives, we're making our future right now. The decisions on the daily basis are what will capitalize on where we end up in the long run. So again, it's important.
Let's talk about that for a moment. I like you mentioned that because that's one of the things I believe. I have a mentor who's 82 years old.
Yeah.
And he mentioned to me when I was 40, he said, man, Ricardo, he said, I told him, I said, man, I'm 40. I got another 10, 15 years before I start settling off. And he said, you know, you could have another 40 in front of you.
Exactly.
And he said that. I never thought about it before. But then I noticed something about him. And that's why I love to hang around people like him. He walks a mile every morning.
Yep.
Walks a mile every morning. So when you talk about vision and you talk about purpose and having a plan for your life for the long haul, let's talk about that. Identifying the fact that I can not only live for the moment, but in the event that God were to give me 40, will my body be able
to sustain it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I talk about this all the time because when I started on my journey, it was very cosmetic. I started teaching at a gym, honestly, coach, because I didn't want to pay the gym membership. and I didn't recognize how much purpose was tied to that decision just to get involved in the fitness industry. But it has changed my entire life. It has given me longevity, energy, sustainability, clarity.
Wow.
It has been amazing. And since then, I believe there's levels to fitness, and a lot of people get caught on the cosmetic side. So how do I look? You know, it's very vain. But when you tie it to purpose, it has a whole nother level of weight. And so that mentor who's 82 just gave you fresh perspective. All of us need it to understand. But what if there was more? It's like when you're starting something small, you only focus on the beginning of it. But my God, if you could see what really God sees in the totality of it, it causes a shift, or at least it should cause a shift in your paradigm. Yeah.
Let's talk about the God factor in relations to our body. You know, the scripture says, you know, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. You want to keep it clean. Before we go any further, what's your view on that for our viewing audience?
Yeah, it's the truth. I recognize, and I said it before, I use the word clarity. See, whenever we're clouded in our mind space, whenever our lives are really busy, we're overwhelmed, we're fatigued, there is no way that we're hearing clearly from the Lord. There's just no way. Jesus was a prime example of this, right? He always found himself, you found himself resting in the presence of the Lord because he knew that his body was going to take him to destiny, ultimately to resurrect us and reconcile us back to the kingdom. So everything about us, this body is a vessel. It is literally a temple that's taking you to your furthest good. And Ricardo, I'm telling you, I believe people have died prematurely. In my own life, as I look around, it's sad. To consider the amount of people who are suffering in the body of Christ, who, when we should be the example and the light to the world, like a city set on a hill, we're the ones suffering because we're not applying the word of God. We're not using the temple that God has given us for his glory. It's really gluttony. It's a gluttony mentality. The attitude is wrong. It is self-serving. My God, we've got it backwards.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined with Brook Eneas this morning. She's coming live from the Bahamas. And look at the scenery. Hey, listen, that is no screenshot. Okay, that's no green screen. Okay,
that's right.
That's no video in the back. That is the Bahamas, and that amazing, wonderful. We're so grateful for her joining us this morning. You know, before we go on, guys, I want to remind you, okay, the concept shared here on Effective Living is to awaken the greatness within you to accept the fact that you need not settle. You know, that whole idea of I can't sleep at night is an indication that you may be settling. That whole I know what they're saying is speaking to me, but the reality of it is, you know what, I'm going to look into it next week, and I'm going to look into it next month. I'm going to look into it. You got to get to the point where you realize, as Brooke just mentioned, your body is the vehicle God uses to fulfill your assignment. When your body expires, your time's up. But here's the deal. I heard you mention the word prematurely. There are a lot of people who strategically, if they apply themselves to the right principle, they can live a long, progressive life. But then
Absolutely.
there's a violational process that can be activated in someone's
Yes.
life to shortcut or limit them from ever experiencing the fullness. Talk to us about that, the violation of the principles that causes death and frustration.
It's the truth. Everything in life is based on
Go ahead.
principles. Everything in life is based on principles.
Yeah.
We understand that. There's kingdom law, kingdom principles that will give you kingdom living. And then we understand there's opposite laws in terms of the world systems that will give us the opposite effect. And to be honest, majority of the time, what we're eating and the way that we're living our lives is not at all in regard to us winning in life. It's really, it's not set up for our win. It's really set up for capitalism. And when you understand that it's the cards aren't stacked in your favor. So you really have to do all you can to choose life, right? There's two things presented before you. There's life and there's death. And he says, listen, there's blessings and there are curses. You have to choose which one you want. It's not anything that's going to be forced upon you. So God has given us the formula to live. He says, listen, I've given you plants and herbs. I want you to eat this way because this is where all those laws in the Levitical law and in Deuteronomy that we find laid out for us are still applicable. Jesus said, I didn't come to abolish the law. I actually came to fulfill it. And so there's times in which I think that we're making excuses in regard to our lifestyles. Again, very selfish ambition and thinking. It's self-serving. It's based on the flesh, but it takes us out of our flourish zone, cuts our lives prematurely, and it really causes the assignment of our lives to be thwarted because it's really focused on self. So we have to make sure that we're getting, again, back into the will of God, the perfect will of God concerning what we are consuming and also our daily activities.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined with Brook Eneas. She's coming in live from the Bahamas, and we're talking about fitness today. We're talking about health and fitness. We're talking about getting the right mindset to execute the right type of behaviors on a daily basis to position us to win. If you're watching us, do me a favor and share this. Someone needs to watch this. Someone needs to capture this truth, because here's the deal. My grandmother used to say, warning come before destruction. Okay? Warning come before destruction. That little nudging that says you need to share, please. That little nudging saying I need to wake up and do something about my body, take care of my mind, getting my life together. As a matter of fact, guys, if you have not gotten my book yet, you better go get the book. It's a signed copy that can be in the mail to you right away. Now, here's the deal. Some of you have joined the movement. You're part of the effective living community. You need to get the shirt that says, I'm creating a life I don't need a vacation from. We can see Brook in the Bahamas right now. I mean, she's doing it. And the reality of it is, Brook, I mean, the platform that you're at, you're living life, but not only are you living life, you're learning how to maximize your potential. I want to ask you this question though.
Sure.
The reality of it is there are a lot of people, the Bible talks about the broad way and the narrow way. I want to bring that in on health and fitness. There's a broad way, and you talk about commercialization of food and how we all just want, this stuff that is being presented to us.
Yes.
But then there's a right way that may come across more like the narrow way. Your commitment, your husband's commitment, your family's commitment to go the narrow way. That takes a lot of work, bro.
It takes a lot of work. To be honest, it has been a journey. Because I love the title here, because you said unlearning what you never should have learned. And it really requires intentionality. The narrow way is much simpler, to be honest, because a lot of the things, again, that we're consuming are full of artificial preservatives, a lot of chemicals. So my background, I'm a chemist and molecular biologist. And so the way that I study food and the way that I study the body is through the lens of science. And science is simply the study of the creation of God. It's amazing. I love everything about it. That is my geek side. But with that being said, the narrow way is so essential to life because it leads to life. And so for me, when it comes to health and fitness, you really have to get plugged into the few. What I mean by that is that there's always going to be two sides to every system. And anytime there's confusion, you can always guarantee that there's some level of darkness and confusion that causes, or that there's a kingdom of darkness that is causing some level of clashing. So that's when you should get intrigued to say, well, what is the truth? Anytime there's confusion, it should spark our interest to say, but what does God say about it? And so the narrow way is simply, what does God say about the topic? And you have to dive into the word and begin to listen to those who really are rooted in faith and teaching you the truth. And I think sometimes, I thought about this before I logged in this morning, there's it's so peculiar to me because people are always very hesitant to listen to those who are holistic, but they're very quick to listen to those who are not. It's interesting. And the cycle of those who are not holistic, it really is a cycle. There's side effects. There's just so many issues that persist. So you have to listen to the few who are leading you back to what the truth of God's word is.
Oh man, I'm enjoying this conversation so much.
Awesome.
This is so good. Brooke, let's dive into what would be considered top 5 focus areas when it comes to health and fitness. There are people watching us. I believe one principle can change your life forever.
Absolutely.
I believe there's a truth that someone may have been living for a while and not know. And they can be shared today. And they'll be like, it was on that Monday morning, I was watching Ms. Brook Eneas. She mentioned a point. I decided right then, the light bulb came on. I've been doing it ever since, and my life changed for the better. What would be 5 areas of focus that you would say persons watching needs to commit to?
So, Ricardo, I had a hard time minimizing my 5. I had a hard time. The first one is, listen, let your motivation be purpose versus cosmetics. I talked about that before. Listen, if purpose is your motivation, you have a deeper why, and you'll stick with it. Many times people start off the year and they're like, I'm going to do this. We're in April, and I want to know, did you do it? Right? You had the goal written. You said this is going to be your year. But many people fall off the bandwagon, and it's a cycle. You have to open up your eyes to say, what is this cycle that I'm caught in, and how can I break free from it? Because as soon as you do, you actually unlock legacy, right? So for generations, when you make a decision to change, it changes not only for you, but literally thousands of generations after you. So let your motivation be purpose. Number 2, think plant-based. Oftentimes I'll ask people, well, what vegetables and what fruit, what fresh produce have you eaten today? And they're like, I haven't. I think about it, and I haven't. Everything is fast-paced, it's fast food, it's convenient, it's what can I grab on the go? But if you think, where can I eat that will give me sustenance and nutrition, more than likely it's going to be in your own kitchen. So really think plant-based. What herbs are you adding to your diet? How are you, and I always talk about green drinks, and I joke about it on my own personal page, but you want to make sure that you are fueling your cells. If you're not fueling your cells, you're walking toward death. I'm just being honest. So you really have to learn what makes your body tick, what's going to give you energy and live. The third point would be, don't buy according to price. I was taught this growing up. It's like, I can save a penny in the kitchen. Like, that was a saying growing up. And I get it. It's true. And I understand that we're all on maybe some budgets and financial constraints, especially in this season. But if you have to cut, don't cut quality food. You can cut in other areas, but do not cut quality food. This is my mantra. Fresh is always best. Frozen is second best. We never eat canned. I'll say that again. Fresh is always best. Frozen is second best. We never eat canned. If there's a season like a hurricane, there's a circumstance that we just don't have control over, of course, we're going to eat canned. But more than likely, 99% of your life should be fresh foods and vegetables. Number 3, enjoy your exercise choice. People often say, I don't have time. It's not true. You just don't manage your time. My life is extremely busy. We live in 2 countries. Our lives are very full, being entrepreneurs, pastors, speakers, homeschooling mom. You have time. Okay. It's just a matter of making the time and living effectively, which is, again, the whole purpose of us logging in today. You have to take time to manage the 24 hours that you've been given. So if it's going to sleep earlier, rising earlier, make your exercise a priority. Every day we're out here on the same beach, walking, talking, enjoying one another. We're living life effectively and having fun while doing it. So make sure that your choice of exercise is something that you'll enjoy. And then I would say this last point would be, get the visual cues about the person that you want to become. You have to really visualize who you're becoming. So whenever you have a model in your mind of where you're headed, it makes it easier to continually walk toward that space. So there are women who I look at who are in their 60s and 70s. Ricardo, they look amazing. And they really are my model, my icon of it's possible. And so you have to get a vision in your head. I'm in my 40s. I just turned 41 this past Sunday.
Yep.
And
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. When people look at me, they're like, "Are you really in your 40s?" It's funny. I really do laugh. People have argued me down and say there's no way. But the point is, you have to get a visual cue of what you see yourself becoming, and that will help you stay the course. That would be my top 5.
Woo, that's a top 5. Listen, those are really, really good, guys. Listen, if you're watching, go ahead and make a note of those 5 things. Watch this again.
Yes.
Okay? The goal of this talk is not to be impressed. The goal of this talk is to be transformed by the information being presented. We're not here just for you to be like, oh,
that's
man,
right.
she's good. Oh, my goodness, I'm so liking this platform. The question is, when you hear something that connects with you, if you grab a hold of what's for you, okay? Grab a hold of what's for you. I like that. Those 3, my life has changed. Every one of my shows, every time I do an interview, I grab something.
Yes.
And yours is definitely those top 3. Go for fresh. Frozen is second best.
Yes.
And stay away from canned. Lord Jesus, I'm like, okay. That is some good stuff. Now, Brooke, there are people who struggle with consistency.
Sure.
They start but they don't continue.
Right.
And as you mentioned at the beginning of the year, there were some people who, man, they got up on the first day of the year and they're like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to take care of my body. And they joined the gym, and that gym is making money off of them because they don't show up. You know, they bought the equipment, but they don't use the equipment.
Yes.
They went ahead and bought the nutritional supplements.
That's right.
They're just there because we have this thing. We start, we're not consistent as much as we should.
Yeah.
What's your view on that, and how could people be a little bit more consistent and engage themselves in what they know they say they want from the core?
Yes, such a great question. And honestly, the fitness industry banks on you not finishing. The fitness industry is $1 billion industry. And I just want you to be aware of that. And you may be contributing to that, but you want to make sure you're getting your return on investment. Nothing wrong with investing in it, but you want to get your return on investment. And with that being said, you have to then look at the root. The root is not the equipment. The root of the issue is not the supplements. The majority of those things really do work. It's your discipline levels. It's your self-control levels. It's, again, that deeper why as to why you would maintain the course. So sometimes you just have to surround yourself with community to make sure that you make it to the finish. And that's okay. We all need some level of accountability in every area of our lives. And so being accountable is important. And so if you're having an issue being consistent, number 1, find a great coach, find a great trainer who knows what your goals are and who, again, are on the narrow path, because there's many trainers and coaches that are not. So you want to make sure that they're taking you in the right direction. Okay. So make sure that you find that level of compatibility. And then number 2, make sure that you are able to be vulnerable. Be honest with yourself. There's sometimes some really deep rooted issues as to why you're not disciplined, or you may not have the self-control that you need, that may be rooted in historical perspectives. So your past, what you walked through. And so sometimes we look to food for comfort, for our emotional status, for whatever. So you have to unpack all of that baggage and really come back to God, to be honest, and allow him to heal that space. And that leads me to my 3rd point. Ask him for help. He's amazing. There's actually on the Bible app, I don't know if you all have downloaded it or not, there's some great 7-day devotionals that help you, and even books that have been written that help you to get to the deeper issue. And it will walk you through, helping you to unpack so that then you remain consistent on the journey.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined with Brook Eneas, and we're talking fitness. Listen, man, there are so many common myths that people have. Brook, is there anything that you want to throw out there before we go into our last 2 questions that you think is just critical? It's important that people get this.
Yes. Listen, it's not as hard as we make it. Results are possible for everyone. I remember my days in college, I gained the infamous freshman 15. And I knew a little bit why, but I couldn't necessarily figure out exactly why. But it was the food. The quality of food is 80% of your result. I just want to make sure that we say that today. Food literally is medicine. So either food is causing you to live, or it's going to, again, cause your demise. You want to learn as much as you can about quality foods. And then the fitness aspect is important. Walking outside, doing exercise outside is great because it gives you fresh oxygen exchange with the plants. It's really the way that God arranged it. We really were never meant to live the way that we live. Okay. So I just want to make sure that if I don't say anything else, that fresh air exchange, making sure that you understand this is not as hard as it seems. And then finally, stepping away from work. I love to time block. So if you could just make sure that you are taking time to step away from the pressures of life and really take care of you. You will not fulfill the assignment, which our coach said in the very beginning, unless you're taking care of your body in this vessel. So take a step back from work, pressure, stress, which is really causing a lot of sicknesses and diseases in our bodies, and time block it. And every day, take time to just kind of step away and make sure that you settle emotions, settle stresses, and it'll really help you again to get the result that you're looking for.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to help. Okay.
Yes.
Now, here's what you're not going to be able to say. Nobody told me.
That's right.
Okay. You're not going to be able to say nobody told me. The truth be told, and this is free content. You know, bro, there are some people, I just can't afford to go to a fitness seminar or webinar or buy a fitness book. Well, the reality of it is this stuff is coming to you free of charge. So I tell people, bro, I say, start with the free stuff. You get talks like this, you start with the baby step with the free stuff.
That's
then
it.
You buy the book.
That's right.
The person has the book that you've been getting the free stuff from. Start with the free stuff, then get the book. And then if they have a weekend or some virtual experience, you upgrade and you go up to that next level.
That's right.
But here's the deal. You can do this.
That's right.
You can do this, bro.
Looking
back over your life, when you really think about where you are, what you have learned over the years, what would you say you wish your 20-year-old self knew now about health and fitness and just sort of like showing up as the way you are showing up with the conviction and the commitment that you have for life?
Absolutely. Listen, I did start this journey rather young. I actually started it in my teenage years. So even if I were in my 20s, if I had a redo, I honestly would do exactly what you just mentioned, actually. I would engage in as much knowledge as I possibly could to then be able to run my race even faster. I would really teach myself to love my body as an honor and as an act of honor to God versus it being cosmetic. I would really learn as much as I could about plants and herbs. I would probably plant a garden, just to be honest. I really would take what I knew to the next level a lot faster than I would have before, because I think I would have been able to help people who really did, again, maybe pass away or transition a little bit earlier. I would have been more of a help and more of a voice to them. So I would have, again, really allowed it to become a part of my life at a deeper level, so then I could do more transformation and more impact and domination on a greater scale.
Yes. Wow. This is so good. You know, the role of people being overwhelmed, the role of baby steps as we close on that talk. You know, I think some people, they hear all of this and they just, I don't know if I could. And I will, but then they're looking at this whole big picture.
Sure.
I'm a big fan of baby steps. What's your thoughts on, start where you are? And consistently engage yourself in what you can to get to where you're trying to go.
Absolutely, because this runs very, very deep. I'll be honest. I've been, again, 20 years in this industry, and I am continuously learning, continuously enrolling in courses, continuously growing. And I would say to you, start where you are with what you have. So when I initially started, again, you can walk anywhere. That doesn't require much effort. Even if your neighborhood may not be the best, you can go to a park. You can start where you are. And if you can't give me 20 minutes of a walk, then give me 10. You can't give me 10, then give me 5. You start where you are. If you can give me 2 days a week, I'll take it. Wherever you can start, wherever you are, there's something you can do right now. And then you grow from there. In terms of food, you're saying, well, Brooke, I can't buy organic. I can't afford that right now. That's okay. Can you at least give me fresh? Right? You have some level of queuing. Can you go to a farmer's market versus buying from a conventional store? Can you give me something very simple? And then finally, I'll say this. Vitamins and supplements are extremely important, especially in the Western world. We do not eat what we need to eat because the food quality is very compromised.
Yeah.
So supplementation is very important. So at least give me a multivitamin.
Yeah.
And if it can be from a health food store and not, your traditional grocery stores, that would be my preference. So let's take that budget, reevaluate, and then see where you can cut. Maybe not getting the nails done, ladies.
Yeah.
Maybe think about not the cosmetic side, but think about the internal long-term effect of the decisions you're making today.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we got a live person walking the back. Someone thinking this was a screen. That's no screen. That's no video projection in the back. But closing question, Brooke, this has been so good. So many people are enjoying this talk. What does effective living look like to you? I'm often interested in hearing what people would say, and I'm interested in hearing your version of what effective living look like to you.
Yes. I'm really on this tip of domination.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to me because we really were created to dominate, and to live effectively is domination. Yeah. And of course, we know that it's not domination over people. We've heard that from one of our mentors, Dr. Miles Monroe. And it's very important that for me, I think the definition is tapping into everything God has for you and everything that He's placed in you to become and to do. For me, that's living effective. Ricardo, I want to finish my race, and I want to finish it well. I want to do everything. My prayer last night was simply this. I said, Holy Spirit, whatever direction you've given, whatever instruction you've given, don't let me miss it. Bring it back to my remembrance again. Because every instruction He gives is leading us to effectiveness, and it's leading us to the best. We just got to trust Him in that. So everything He's given us to do, He's the Spirit of truth. And I think to live effective is most done effectively only through the Spirit of truth.
Wow. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Brook Eneas joining me here live on Effective Living Monday Morning Talk. Brook, you guys are amazing. If you're anywhere in the Bahamas and you get on Grand Bahamas, listen, you got the free board, you got to connect with these guys. Brook, how can people follow you? Tell us a little bit about your services. I know you guys have a huge event, an annual event coming up.
We do.
Tell our viewing audience about it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share. You can always contact me on my website, which is brookeneas.com. And my name, again, is listed on the screen. So first and last put together.com. Also, we have an event coming up called Power Couples Lifestyle. It'll be hosted in Orlando because, again, we're living bi-coastal. So in Orlando, this event is phenomenal. If you are a married couple wanting to live life on purpose and to live effectively, and you're trying to figure out, how do I do that? How do I break through? My husband and I, Raymond, have hosted this event for the past maybe 6 or 7 years in different places. And it will give you the keys to live effectively. We talked through 4 pillars in life. It's very practical, but very transformational, principle driven, full of wisdom. And the speaking team this year is incredible. So we invite you to check it out on powercouplesLifestyle.com. And you'll be able to really engage both either, or rather online or coming face to face in Orlando. So again, thank you so much for having me. It's been an awesome delight. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you share. We want to make sure, again, that people are getting the message, and that honestly, it can really help to prevent one of your friends, loved ones, in terms of their effective living, for them to be able to make it to their finish. So be sure to share.
Listen, Brooke, I enjoyed this talk so much. Please tell Raymond, listen, I would love to do a talk with you guys. I'll do a special session just about the Power Couples.
Beautiful.
And so maybe 30 days or so before, y'all let me know.
Okay.
We could do a special effective living talk because there are so many people God has strategically brought together to make a huge impact in the earth. Yes. And we want them to be a part of this event. You guys have been doing this for a while, and y'all are the best at what you do. And so thank you very much for representing the kingdom so well. Any closing thoughts before we end our show?
I again want to reiterate, you can do it. It's possible. I've watched women and the young ladies that I work with transform right before my eyes. But the transformation, even though we see it physically, my God, the transformation internally is really what counts. And the more that you begin to recognize that your purpose matters, your life matters, who God has designed you to be matters, that deep-rooted thought, my God, will transform your entire life. And it really will help you to understand the value of you. So thank you again, Coach Ricardo, for having me.
Thank you, Brooke. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard a lot of things that you need to go back over and listen to it again. And listen to it again.
Yes.
Listen to it enough until it sticks.
Yes.
If you don't like where you are, you got to tell yourself, I have been given a day. I've been given another opportunity to begin again.
Yes.
I could make some adjustments. Don't forget the lifestyle you promised to yourself. Stop living below your potential.
Yes.
Decide to roar, decide to shine, decide to become the best version of yourself. Brooke, you've blessed us today.
Thank you.
Listen, I love you guys. Y'all continue to enjoy the Bahamas. I'm about to go on my morning walk.
Yes.
I don't have that kind of experience like what y'all have. But I'll be back in the Bahamas real soon. As Brooke mentioned, if you're considering someplace to visit this year, the Bahamas will be a phenomenal destination to go and experience. Once again, Brooke, thank you so much for making this show, this experience, a delightful one for all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.